Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and today we're going to try something a little different. This in front of us is a variant Sudoku puzzle. This is a slightly different one in that it's only 6 by 6 rather than 9 by 9. This hopefully will be a bit of an introduction to the idea for some of you who are only familiar with cryptic crosswords. The difficulty rating for this on the Logic Masters Germany website where it's published is 1 out of 5 stars, so it's kind of in the easier end of the spectrum. But it's created by Chameleon, who is a very well-known constructor and has created some amazing puzzles and been featured on Cracking the Cryptic many times. So I thought, being that it's an easy one but also created by a very good setter, it might be a good one to try for myself and to maybe introduce a few people to the ideas in variant Sudoku. So you'll notice that the grid in front of us does not have any numbers given in the beginning, and yet it will have a unique solution possible, and that is made possible by the inclusion of these arrows, which have a particular significance, which I'll explain. There's a couple of rules to explain, and then I'll give it a go. There will be a link to this puzzle in the description if you'd like to give it a try, but in the meantime, let me have a go. And so we've got specified in the rules here, normal Latin square rules apply. Place digits 1 to 6 into each row and column without repeats. So every row and every column will have to have the digits 1 to 6. Now in a regular Sudoku, you also have these kind of 3 by 3 areas that have to contain the digits 1 to 9. In this puzzle, we don't have those regions, so it's just the rows and the columns that need to work along those lines. The second rule is normal arrow rules. So digits on the arrow line sum to the digit in the circle. Digits on the arrow may repeat if allowed by other rules. So this cell here, being that it's a circle, if these two were, say, a 1 and a 3, this would have to add up to 4. So that's how circles work. And you can have the digit repeating as long as it's not breaking the general rules of the puzzle. So 1 and 1 is fine for 2 there. And then we have this final rule. No diagonal stripe of 3 repeated digits is allowed. So it's a pretty non-standard rule, and I think what it's saying is basically just that you couldn't have 5 in those 3 cells, because although it doesn't break the normal rules, it does break this special rule that says no diagonal stripe of 3 repeated digits is allowed. So you'd have to have a break there with something else. So that's all the rules, and I'm going to give it a go. When I first read the rules and looked at the puzzle, I thought this is worth trying because I had an immediate realization. I hadn't actually noticed the 3 in a row rule, so and I'm a little surprised when I came to turn on the camera looking at the rules again that this rule is there, because there was an opening deduction that I could see was possible that didn't. That turns out that I would have not needed it had I known the 3 repeat rule. So this long arrow here is a good element to start with because it's so big. And so you could look at this and say, what's the minimum that could be in the best case? If they were all 1s, then this would add up to 5. So this would have to be a 5 or a 6. But according to this rule, we can't actually have all the 1s here because that would make more than 3 in a row. But I had realized that you couldn't have 1s like that anyway, because row 1 and column 1 would then only be able to have a 1 in the corner, and that obviously does not add up to 5 1s. So this was never going to be possible, and that means this is a 6, and this stretch down here has to be 4 1s and a 2. And I'm realizing that with the new rule, we're going to have to put the 2 in the middle, because if we didn't, say we put it there, we would definitely have 3 1s in a row here. If we put it here, then we're going to have 4 1s in a row. So the 2 has to go in the middle, and then these 4 cells have to be 1. And that is as far as I know now. So these 4 circles here can't be 1 or 2. So they are 3, 4, 5, or 6. They may repeat. Now this digit here just goes straight to there. So that's also 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we'll give it a color to say that those are the same. So a single cell arrow just means that the digits in both those cells are actually the same. Now, neither of those can be 1 actually. So the minimum they could be is, because both of them see the ones, or put another way actually, we can put by Sudoku this column here, the only place for a 1, can't go there, can't go there, and these two stop those, so that's the one up there, and we're left with only one to put, which is this one here, so that's all the ones done. Now these two cells obviously can't contain ones now, so the minimum they could be, if they repeat, I was going to say it could be 2 and 2, but it can't, because that would make 3 2s in a row. So actually the minimum it can be is 2 and 3. It could be 2 and 3, it could be 2 3s, or it could be 2 and 4, meaning this has to add up to at least 5. So it could be 2 2 2 3, sorry, 2 3 3 3, or 2 4. This one's doing the same down here, so this is a different color because these are clearly different, but these two yellows are therefore the same. Now these two here have the same problem, they can't both be 2s, so they're at 2 3 and 4, and this one can't be a 3 or a 4. A 4 would need 2 2s, which would make 3 in a row. So now we have a 5 6 pair in this row, so these two here are 3 and 4, they're the digits that remain. Now let's see what we do now. Those two yellows can't repeat there because it will make 3 in a row. So one of them must be up, well, they're the same digit, and it must be up here. They can't both be 2 because that would make 3 in a row. So one of them is definitely at least a 3. What about this 6 here? There's a 6 in there. In that row it's in there. Seems to have a few possibilities. And then in here, we know there's definitely a 6 in one of those two. I think that might be interesting. So, yeah, in row 2, how do I show this? Well, let's ignore these ones for a second and just consider row 2. Yeah, just consider row 2, 4, and 6. We know, and then we'll ignore these two. We know there's a 6 in one of those 3. We know there's a 6 in one of those 2, and there's a 6 in one of those 3. And they represent 3 rows, but also 3 columns. So there's going to be 3 6s in these columns, and they're definitely in these 3 sections here. And that means that in the columns, there can't be any more 6s, which means these 2 cells in particular can't be 6s. Is that going to work out? Yeah, I think this is going to be a 6. So these can't be 6s, because if they were, then there'd be a 6 in here, a 6 in here, a 6 in here, and then an additional 6, which is 4 6s in 3 columns, which is not allowed. So neither of these is 6. But that means that now the 6s in these 2 rows are definitely in these 2 positions. And we have the same kind of problem where we've got 2 6s provided in 2 columns, so we can't have any more 6s in any of these cells. So this one here can't be a 6. So that is a 5, and this one is the 6. Now the 5 can't have a 4 on it, and so it is a 2 3 pair. And the 6, well, the 6 can be 3 3 or 2 4, so we don't quite know what's happening there, but we'll hopefully find out in a second. Now, does the 5 tell us anything? I'm not sure that it does. wonder if we should be thinking about 2s a little bit. I don't think so. Now, so if this was a 2, that would not be able to be a 2. You'd have to put a 2 up here in the column. Not really seeing why that's... Maybe there's some interaction between these. Like if that's a 3, that's a 2, this is a 4, and this is a 3. That actually works. I can see this in my head, but I'll play through what I'm thinking. If that's a 2 and that's a 3, that's a 4 and that's a 3, and then because this can't be a 3, this one can't be a double 3, so it must have 2, 4, and the 2, 2 here forces 4 and 2, and I could see that that didn't self-evidently break. So that might even be correct. So that's obviously not the way we're supposed to detangle this, or untangle. These are definitely different. Oh yeah, well, that's interesting. So these are a 2, 3 pair, adding to 5. So the cells that they see can't be 2 or 3, because if there's a 2 here, then neither of these can be a 2 just by the normal rules of Sudoku. So these can't be 1s, 2s, or 3s, so they're 4, 5s, or 6s, and this one can't be a 5. So that is a 4 or a 6. That might not be that telling, actually. This one here, that can't be 5. This is what I missed. That 5 there, this 3 in a row rule. So that's nice. So this is a 3, 4 pair, and this is a 3, 4, because we can't have triple 5 in a diagonal. That's cool. So this actually can't be double 3, because if this is a 3, 3, then we clearly can't put 3, 3. But if this is a 3, 3, so if this was a 4, this has to be a 3, and that 3 sees that cell, so you can't put 3, 3 here either for 6. So that's a 2, 4. We've got a 3, 4 pair in the column, which means this is a 2. Now maybe that was, I don't know, I might have missed a more easy way of seeing that, but we can now go through and just do the Sudoku on this. I probably should have turned off the red markings. That just makes it a bit easier to scan, but I hadn't noticed it was on until I started. You can turn that off in the settings. Everything's starting to get placed, and this might be why it's rated as such an easy puzzle, but also why it's rated as a high quality puzzle, because this has been a really interesting little solve path. But I've got 3 2s in a row. That's a disaster. Hang on. I've put... sorry. What have I done there? What did I do? I said that was a 3, because it couldn't be a 4. Yeah, I've done that the wrong way. Sorry. I've thought they were a 3, 4 pair, but they're not. They're the same digit. That makes... I'm glad that I didn't completely break it. And that's a 6. I'll get rid of these. I think that's the only mistake I made. We'll see. 5. And now because of the 3, 3, this is a 3. Sorry, because of the 2, 2, this becomes a 3 to avoid the triple. Get a 3 down there. 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight. Losing its religion. That's a bit of cracking the cryptic law. So we've got this 2, 5, and 6, which I don't think is determined. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a 4 there, and we get 5 and 6. The 5, 6 pair here means this is a 3. We still need 2 and 5, and that's a 2 there by Sudoku. So 2, oops, I think that deadly pattern is going to be resolved. I'll come to that in a second. So this here is what's known as a deadly pattern. So in a normal puzzle, there'd be no way of telling whether, clearly, if this is a 5, then that's a 6, and this is a 5, and that's a 6. So you get this kind of X shape, and there would be nothing to tell you about whether it's 5 and 5, or 6 and 6. You could have that, and then those two being 6, or you'd have those two as being 6, and these two being 5, and it would be a perfectly valid solution, because none of the rules are impinging on what these values can be. Except, of course, there is a rule in this puzzle, which is you can't have 3 cells in a row that are the same digit. So that can't be a 5, which means that these two finally are 6, and these two are 5. 19 minutes and 28 seconds. I think that's actually from when I loaded the page, so maybe a bit quicker than that. What's the video length? 16 minutes, so maybe it's been about 13 minutes or something. Like the puzzle. Beautiful. Oh, so that was a smooth introduction, despite my little glitch in entering those digits there. And yeah, so that's a very kind of clean introduction to variant Sudoku, only on a smaller scale. The rule with the 3 in a row I haven't seen before, so that's a unique one. And variant Sudoku has literally over 100 different kind of rule sets that people have come up with, and there's probably 15 or 20 of them that are real mainstays. So arrows, for example, are a very common clue type. There's a whole host of other ones, and then some kind of global constraints where you have things like what's called a knight's move constraint, where a digit in a cell can't repeat in a cell that is a chess knight's move away, and a whole host of other things. So this is a very simple example of such a puzzle. The complexity that has been created in some of the puzzles over the last few years since Cracking the Cryptic got on the scene and really bolstered the world Sudoku scene in just an incredible way, and has brought hundreds of thousands of people into their this kind of area of interest. So there's this kind of whole coterie of people who previously never looked at Sudoku, but have started doing them and building them, and there's some pretty clever folk out there coming up with some ridiculously intricate ideas for how these puzzles can work. So if this kind of thing interests you, I recommend checking out Cracking the Cryptic. Despite the name, it is primarily a Sudoku puzzle channel. They do cryptic content as well, though. And they publish 2 videos a day, so and it's just such a wide array of interesting stuff. So check it out if this kind of thing interests you, and if it interests you, do let me know as well, so I know that it's something worth continuing with here and there. This was an easy one, and as I go forward I might try some harder ones. I built a bunch of them myself, and some of them have been definitely on the harder end of the scale. I'm not the most amazing solver, to be fair, of difficult Sudokus, but never know, with a bit of practice I might get there, and hopefully it'll be interesting content for you guys too. So any feedback on that, do let me know. In the meantime, happy puzzling to everybody, and have a great week. I'll see you again probably in the next few days for a crossword or 2. Thanks again.